With Terry Rozier's contract fully guaranteed for the rest of the season, will the Heat look to move him? We break down some possible trade scenarios, but Wes, are the Knicks interested in acquiring Bam Adebayo?
They'd have to be interested in playing defense first.
You are Locked On Heat, your daily Miami Heat podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, welcome to Locked On Heat, your daily podcast on the Miami Heat, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. Whether you're tuning in on YouTube or on your favorite podcast app, thanks so much for making Locked On Heat your first listen every day. Join the Cookie Gang and become an everydayer. That means subscribing, tuning in every day, Monday through Friday, and signing up for the Everydayer Club with the link in the show notes. I'm Wes Goldberg, host of Locked On NBA Daily and Real GM Radio. I'm here with David Ramil. Both of us are credentialed Heat media members who cover this team every day. We got a ton of news to get to today, including a trade proposal from Locked On Knicks for Bam Adebayo. We'll also look ahead to tonight's game against the Chicago Bulls. But let's start with the big news of today. Wednesday at 5 p.m. was the deadline for the Heat to waive Terry Rozier and save the remaining $1.7 million in guaranteed money against the cap. That's on his contract. The Heat opted not to waive him. It's exactly as we predicted / reported on yesterday's show. So not surprising there, David, but it also suggests that the Heat, rather than waiving Terry Rozier, creating another $1.7 million in space, which would have opened up another roster spot on the 15-man roster and given the Heat enough space under the tax to sign not one, but two free agents to prorated minimums. Right now, they can currently sign one free agent to a prorated minimum. Rather than do that and have that flexibility to add another player on a minimum contract as a free agent, they said, we're going to keep Rozier. Why? Well, it suggests that they're going to try to trade him in that $26.6 million contract before the deadline. That was my takeaway. Was that yours?
Yeah, absolutely. Only one reason to keep him on the roster right now, to extend it. Like, you're not saving that much money. You could save some money. As we talked about yesterday, there aren't a lot of players that are available at this point in the season that you could add with those open roster spots, or else they would have filled in that first one to begin with. So it's not like they're looking to make significant upgrades that way. They could add a player, but right now depth is more of a concern than anything else. I think you've got enough players already that are serviceable. What you're looking for is to acquire something of greater value, not just greater value than Terry Rozier, but greater value than whatever you might have on the roster. And so that's where that contract comes into play.
And greater value than whatever, loosey free agents are still hanging out without a job right now, too, right? So to your point, if the Heat wanted a free agent, let alone two free agents, they probably would have signed a free agent already. They can, by the way, sign a player right now to a prorated minimum to the 15-man roster and still stay under the tax. Of course, they've not done that yet. So the next obvious step here then, David, is to go to the trade machine. If the Heat are intending to try to at least shop Terry Rozier. And I do want to be clear on what that really means. It doesn't mean that there's a team out there that's like, oh yeah, a struggling point guard who hasn't made a shot in 2 years, who's under a federal investigation, sign us up. That's exactly, I think, that's what we're missing on our roster. No, I don't think there's a team that's out there looking for Terry Rozier, the player. I think that they'd be willing to trade for Terry Rozier's contract since it's expiring, comes off the books this summer. If there's another team out there trying to get rid of long-term money or save a little bit of money in the short term even, and maybe even try to duck under the luxury tax in some way, that's where Terry Rozier's contract comes into play in order to save money going forward. I think any team that does hypothetically trade for Terry Rozier never goes to that team. He never visits the facility, right? Like, the team probably trades for Rozier's contract and then more likely than not waives it or just keeps him away from the team. So I just want to make that clear. Like, there's not... I'm about to get into some fake trades here. None of these involve these teams being like, ooh, Terry Rozier, we've been waiting to get him on our roster.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Part of the hope, I think, at the start of the season and maybe during the offseason was that Terry Rozier would look at this as a redemption arc for him, like an opportunity. We had heard a lot of buzz coming into training camp that he was playing great and he looked like he was renewed, et cetera. Well, that never really worked out. So I don't know how much more value he could have added to himself or his contract had he even been able to play at a solid level. But having been out of the whole season right now, it's clear that any team's not looking to add that particular skill set from an inconsistent player like Terry. Like, he's always had inconsistencies. There was some value in there when the Heat acquired him a couple seasons ago, but obviously that value has been greatly reduced in his tenure here in Miami.
Yeah, if this was going to be a redemption season for Terry Rozier, Sugar had other ideas, I suppose.
Sugar.
Dang Sugar. The other part of this, too, before we get into these fake trades, is right now the Heat, Terry Rozier is away from the team. He's basically kind of just frozen, right? Like the salary slot and all this stuff is basically frozen right now. Adam Silver has said publicly that he doesn't even know if the Heat can trade Terry Rozier. And what he said was, well, we won't know until they try to trade him, and then we'll make a ruling on whether or not he's eligible to be in that deal. The Heat do expect internally that if they were to come to a deal that sent Terry Rozier's contract elsewhere, that the NBA would just be like, all right, if everybody's cool with it, then we're cool with it.
Well, I don't think they did it once before.
That's right. Sure.
I was just thinking about it. It's like they're going to be like, if Heat fans are hoping that the league will be like, oh, we're sorry. They might be the opposite. They might be like, well, you traded him, so why would we have had a problem with the original trade from Charlotte? It's no big deal. You've already gotten rid of it. So I don't know. It's amazing. I'm curious to see how it all plays out. Like, this could be some really funny drama over the next couple of days.
So the obvious thing that you would want to do with Terry Rozier is use his contract to stack onto another contract to maybe go make a move for Giannis, right? That's the obvious name. But Giannis has yet to demand a trade. The Bucks are not going to trade Giannis unless he tells them to trade him. I don't know that that's going to happen this season. That, honestly, from all the reporting around Milwaukee right now, they're looking to buy before the trade deadline and try to add something for one last shot at Giannis. This Giannis thing might be more of an off-season thing, and if that's the case, then Terry Rozier's contract doesn't matter anyway because it's expiring, so the Heat wouldn't be able to use it. The Heat would love for Giannis to demand that trade between now and February 5th so that they could use that Rozier contract. There's other ways to get there, right, for the Heat if they really want it. It's Giannis at the end of the day. There's not going to be a lot of players on this roster who are untouchable, but obviously the Rozier contract would have been very useful in that. So putting the Giannis potential aside, I came up with other deals and like real superstar deals aside, right? I wanted to try to find a deal that sent Rozier and maybe another little small something to another team and got the Heat something of value, even if it's not that superstar type of return. So I have three trades.
All right.
Here's the first one. Pat Riley finally gets Griffin on the phone in Portland. Terry Rozier and Simone Fontecchio to Portland for Jeremi Grant. Jeremi Grant has 3 more years left on his contract. He's making $32 million this year. Good scorer, doing stuff for Portland. Started the season strong, has faded a little bit here. But we know what he can do. And when we look at the team needs for the Heat, having a guy like Grant who can come off the bench as that 3-4 kind of tweener wing, that could do some interesting things for their lineups. He could play next to Bam or Ware at the 4. He could play next to both of them as a 3. He can come off the bench behind Wiggins. I don't know. It is interesting. The contract is what makes me hesitate, though.
Yeah, same. Because whatever flexibility you were looking to have in the future is pretty much shot when you take on a 3-year
eats up some of that
deal.
2027 space. Yeah.
It would be hard for me to say no to any deal because right now you've got a negative sum value in Rozier's presence on the roster. So almost anything, like you could trade him for a half-bitten sandwich, and I'd be like, yeah, absolutely, that's greater value than Terry on this roster. So at the same time, no, I don't think Grant is the player that Miami wants. Like I like that if you're looking to add some kind of a player, and Grant can play, like he's a good player. He's not a great player. He's a good player. He has flashes, but there's also flashes of inconsistency there. I would not want Miami to pay $30 million a year for an inconsistent player that's going to be okay. They've got enough of that on the roster already.
He's also 31 years old. He'll be 32. Not exactly in the new Miami Heat timeline. I have 2 more Miami Heat trades. I told you I wasn't going to trade for a superstar. I lied. We do have a superstar trade on the list. Plus, over at Locked On Knicks, they proposed a trade for Bam Adebayo that I wanted to get your thoughts on, David. We're going to talk about all of that next.
Today's episode is brought to you by Rocket Money. Let's be real. Managing your finances can feel overwhelming between subscriptions you forgot about, bills that keep going up, and trying to figure out where all your money actually goes each month. It's easy to feel like you're losing control. And who has time to stack or track every transaction or hunt down hidden fees? Well, that's where Rocket Money comes in, the personal finance app that helps you take control. It finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions. It monitors your spending and it helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. You'll love how it tracks all of your subscriptions, and it lets you cancel them right in the app with just a few taps. No more hunting down customer service numbers. It'll take care of all that for you. In today's world, sometimes you sign up for things all the time, whether it's a bundle deal or some kind of individual streaming services. Next thing you know, you've got multiple subscriptions for no reason at all. Or maybe it's a subscription to an online site that you no longer even see. It just happened to me. I signed up for use of a software program that I haven't used in quite, only to realize I was paying all this money for no reason. Rocket Money helped me cancel that right away. Let Rocket Money help you reach your financial goals faster. Join at rocketmoney.com/lockedon. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon. rocketmoney.com/lockedon. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. As we roll into the new year, there's a lot of pressure to chase a new you. But sometimes it isn't about reinventing yourself. It's about feeling a little less weighed down. Therapy can help you understand what's been holding you back by giving you an outside perspective on your emotions, your motivations, and your relationships. And that's why BetterHelp can be such a helpful place to start. They help match you with a therapist based on your needs and your preferences. So you're not doing all that legwork on your own. And if the match isn't the right fit, well, you can switch to another therapist from their tailored recommendations at any time. BetterHelp has served over 5 million people with more than 30,000 therapists. And live sessions average a 4.9 out of 5 rating across more than 1.7 million client reviews. BetterHelp makes it easy to get matched online with a qualified therapist. Sign up today and get 10% off at betterhelp.com/NBA. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/NBA. We'll be right back.
Thanks for making Locked On Heat your first listen of the day. Thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. You already live your team every day. Now take it up a level and go ad-free. Join the Everydayer Club today and get Locked On Heat with no interruptions, members-only Discord access, and more, all for just $5 a month or for $50 a year. Go to lockedonheat.supercast.com or check the link in the show notes to learn more. Before we get to this Bam Adebayo trade proposal from Locked On Knicks, Terry Rozier trades continued here. I have another one. All right. Before we get to my superstar trade, Terry Rozier to the Sacramento Kings, who could be looking to clear up their books long term here. Rozier to Sacramento for Malik Monk and Dario Saric. Dario Saric is $5 million expiring that just needs to be in here for salary matching purposes. But you would be trading Terry Rozier for a bench scorer like Malik Monk.
Yeah, almost the same player that they were hoping to acquire when they got Terry Rozier in the first place. Yes. Yeah, I'm fine with that. I think that's a good trade. I think that actually helps Miami to a certain degree. Like, you don't have to make sure that Malik gets regular rotation minutes, but he'd probably earn them. And if he has any issues in terms of consistency, as he has for this season, like it's not a major commitment. So I think it's a fine deal. The Saric deal, I would imagine they'd probably waive him outright. Because a player of his caliber, like a few years ago, Saric was one of those names that Heat fans were kept getting excited about, but not any longer. So yeah, I'm fine with that deal.
Yeah, you could waive Saric. In this deal, you're already saving about $3 million, a little bit less, more than $2 million. So you could waive Saric and then replace. So you get the 2-for-1, right? So the Miami Heat already have that one open roster spot. So you could fit these two players. Then you waive Saric and then maybe sign a free agent, maybe a younger big who might be able to contribute a little bit more than Saric. Or somebody potentially on a buyout, right? Because you'd be saving $2 million at that point. Maybe there's somebody out there that would be willing to take a buyout at that point. I do know that the Heat have had conversations recently with the Sacramento Kings, and Malik Monk's name has come up. So I proposed that for a reason. Doesn't mean anything's going to happen. I just know conversations did take place. Last one, the superstar trade. Terry Rozier and Davion Mitchell. So it means you got to get a point guard back to Memphis for Ja Morant. And you probably have to include a first-round pick or two to Memphis.
Hard to say no to that one. Hard to say no to that one, right? I think.
Not that hard. You have to think about it.
Is it?
Well, Ja Morant, it's like, okay, well, the on-off stuff. It's like the guy's Well, he's polarizing. He's hardly ever available. He doesn't play 60 games in a season. Always hurt. Broken jump shot. I kind of think I think this is pretty debatable. Like, it's sort of like the Trae Young conversation we had yesterday, where it's like there's things that you like about him as a player. And Ja Morant, by the way, when he's healthy, is way better than Trae Young. Like, that guy, when he's right, plays like an all-star every time he's right. It's just he's not right that much.
Yeah, I get it. And maybe though the change of scenery thing would be a huge boost for him. It reminds me of a point guard that he acquired about 30 years ago that had kind of worn out his welcome in San Francisco or Oakland at that point in time, right? And he wound up being a pretty good, solid acquisition. So I think you could do something similar for Morant. And if all it costs you, as much as I appreciate what Davion has brought to the table, and I think he's a great player and he's emerged as a really solid contributor and I think a starter level capable player, to get Ja Morant for so little. I mean, look, we're seeing it now with Norm Powell. Like, Kevin Love had value on this roster. Kyle Anderson played really solid in his few games with Miami, but you got a player like Powell who can really play at a high level. Ja Morant is otherworldly, like at his very best, and I trust Miami can get him to that point. They're not making that kind of trade unless they have some kind of buy-in that he's going to be able to commit 100% to being this kind of player. Whatever that means for how he fits into this offense and everything else, that's a whole other question. But I think he's still a good enough player where if you can get him for such a, again, relatively inexpensive amount, you do it 100%. And at the end of the day, if it doesn't work out for whatever reason, I still think that some other team would be like, you know what, we wouldn't mind getting in on that Morant business, and you could probably trade him down the road.
It's fair. I pushed back on you just because I thought, it's good radio. I agree. I think you kind of have to do this. The 2 first-round picks at this point, given where Ja's value, it's so hard to figure out what Ja's value is at. He does mean more to Memphis than he does to anybody else, which is always tricky to try to figure out what it would exactly take to get him from the Grizzlies. Right. But if they decide to just kind of move, like there's rumors around Memphis now that they could be looking to shop Jaren Jackson Jr. also. Not that that would be a target for Miami, but if they go that route, then you might as well just blow everything up. And then at that point,
Bam for Jaren Jackson Jr., you're not interested?
No, but let's get to that Locked On Knicks proposal here. Bam Adebayo. So this was on today's episode of Locked On Knicks, and I was absolutely flabbergasted when I heard this. And I was even more flabbergasted when I heard their response to their own fake trade idea. So I wanted to throw it I texted it to you, and you had the idea. Let's talk about it on the show. So here it is. Right. I was listening to Locked On Knicks, second segment of the Wednesday episode. And Gavin Shaw, who does a great job, proposed the following trade. Bam Adebayo and Norm Powell to the New York Knicks for Karl-Anthony Towns and Deuce McBride. So I heard that and I was like, why are you trying to steal Miami's best 2 players for your second best player, Karl-Anthony Towns, and a guy who comes off the bench, who I like, but a bench player in Deuce McBride? Like, this doesn't make any sense. And then I was even more shocked when they both said, no, they wouldn't do it as Knicks fans. They would not do it. They didn't think that was worth it. I was like, you're getting an all-star in Norm Powell and a perennial defensive player of the year candidate in Bam. They said it wouldn't raise the Knicks ceiling. And I thought that was absolutely crazy to me. But where are you at on this?
How far did you spit out your coffee as you were listening to that? Like, what's in distance in meters or in feet? Because I just
my coffee mug is on Brickell Avenue right now. I just threw it out the window.
Darts, yeah, right through the unbreakable glass. It just goes to show you the hilarious consideration. Like, I know Heat fans are going to be like, yeah, absolutely, because they're kind of disillusioned with Bam this season, and I get that. But for Norm, even though he's on a short-term deal and obviously he's due up for an extension and he's a little bit older and who knows whether or not he can continue to produce at this level, Karl-Anthony Towns comes with his warts. I'm not even going to talk about McBride. Douche McBride, as my friend Jose from Kendall likes to call him. Like, he's an okay player, but he's not like the center of anything. Like that's not that's a throw-in
in this trade at best.
Absolutely. Like, no one's be like, oh, okay.
We're getting McBride in the deal. Oh, in that case, please take Norm Powell.
That's like, take our all-star level 30-point per game scorer for your occasional role player. I mean, maybe if you take a McBride and throw in an Anunoby, right? I mean, that
You
might
take
make
McBride
the field.
out and you're getting Anunoby in this. That's
Yeah.
kind of where I thought they were going until they said McBride, and I was like, McBride, and then
That's the
coffee cup
line.
out the window.
We can't throw in McBride, baby. He's too good. Yeah, no, I'm out on that deal 100%.
So I would just let's boil this down to just Bam for Cat, right? As much as Heat fans are disillusioned with Bam, and he's been bad lately,
100%.
Heat fans have also watched Karl-Anthony Towns play for the New York Knicks. I don't think that there's a whole lot of Heat fans that, even with Bam playing the way that he's played, would trade Bam for Cat. I don't know that there's a whole lot of Heat fans signing up for the Mew Mew Cat experience, as Jose from Kendall would say. Like, that's like kind of the one guy you're like, yeah, we would probably just, even the most, like, even the most hateful Heat fan would still be like, nah, we'll stick with Bam, thanks.
Yeah, I mean, I want to like Cat, like
Sure,
'cause
he's likable.
The talent is absolutely there,
Yep.
but I mean, they're almost like polar opposites of one another. Like
Yep.
the scoring is almost effortless for Karl-Anthony Towns. It's everything else that he absolutely sucks at.
Right,
No
all the
effort,
little
no
things that he
defense.
just overlooks. He fouls
right.
all the time. He makes dumb mistakes and mental mistakes all the time. Bam
Right.
never makes a mental mistake. He's always in the right place, never fouls. He's just this amazing, transcendent defensive player, the way that Cat is this amazing, transcendent offensive player. And defense comes so hard for Towns, and offense comes so hard for Bam. It's a great point, right? Like, they are kind of polar opposites.
Put them
I just think-
together, and they'd be like the best player in NBA history, without a doubt.
Yeah, they'd be Victor Wembanyama, right?
Yeah, no, I'm out on that.
Pass.
Trade.
Yeah,
I
same.
can't, yeah.
The Heat are going to try to bounce back in Chicago tonight. We'll take a look at tonight's matchup against the Bulls and what the Heat need to do to win this game after this.
Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The wild card round is here, and FanDuel is officially in playoff mode. Every game day during the NFL playoffs, FanDuel is giving customers even more ways to get on the action. Because right now, every NFL playoff game day, FanDuel users get a profit boost pack waiting for them inside the app. Each game day, you'll see a pack loaded with multiple profit boosts that you can apply to the bets you like most. Open your profit boost pack first thing on game day and see what boosts you want to apply. The boost lets you lean into your game day instincts, whether you're backing the momentum, the defense, quarterback play, maybe even coaching. And they give you more juice in the bets that you already like instead of forcing you to bet on something new. Every play feels bigger, and the boosts make your bets feel that way too. You make your picks, then apply your profit boost to go even bigger payouts while the playoffs get rolling. So visit FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and grab your profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day. We'll be right back.
After losing in Minnesota, the Heat are going to try to bounce back in Chicago against the Bulls tonight. Kobe White did not play in their game tonight, so he is likely to play. He's kind of doing this on-off thing for Chicago. I don't know how much that matters, but he will at least be available. Tyler Hero likely to play as well. Jaime Jaquez Jr. is questionable. We'll see whether or not he's going to make it back for the Miami Heat. But the last time these two teams played, November 21st, it was an NBA Cup game. The Heat dominated 143-107. And the Bulls were playing better then, right? Like, that was right at the tail end of their hot start to the season. Hero did not play in that game. Josh Giddey did play. He played well, 19 points, 11 rebounds, 9 assists, almost a triple-double. But we remember Ayo Dosunmu just went off for 23 points, kind of stressed Miami for a little bit until they ended up pulling away. And it was Bam and Ware doing a lot of the work. They started in that game. They combined for 38 points and 21 rebounds, dominated the boards, and then the Heat defensively forced 8 turnovers, which got them in transition, got them into their game. It was one of the more dominant one-sided Heat wins of the season, something that they're going to try to repeat, obviously, on Thursday night. With a Bulls team that's reeling a little bit right now. Not a whole lot of great production from many spots on that roster. What do you think they need to do to win this game and take care of business?
The Heat,
Yeah.
you know, kind of reductive, I think, but to come out with a sense of urgency. That Minnesota game was just an eye opener for me in terms of the not being able to respond to the moment and not adjusting at all for the way that Minnesota plays well. So I think you want to try to make things a little difficult for Giddey, but that's much more difficult. Like, that's a matchup that Davion does not handle well. Just because Giddey is a little bit taller and a capable playmaker, and if he gets going from 3-point range, that would be problematic as well. So I think that's the key there. But I'm concerned with Chicago just in general because they've been the definition of inconsistent. Talk about just they win 3 games in a row, then they lose 3 games in a row. They win 2, lose 2. They lose 6, win 5. Like they've just been all over the place. And right now they're coming on a 3-game losing streak. I just don't want them to get started with their win streak. And I know it's going to happen. Like, can we extend their losing streak to 4 so that they beat up the next team? Because after that, who cares? Even as we're reporting this, as we're recording this episode, Trae Young has been dealt to the Washington Wizards for CJ McCollum and Corey Kispert. So instant reactions here.
Yeah, that's exactly sort of what we expected. I was recording Real GM Radio this morning, and I basically laid out it's McCollum and Kispert. That makes sense in that deal going back. So Shams reporting this just now. We still don't know what sort of draft compensation is going either way, but Trae Young to the Wizards. Good for them, I guess. I don't hate it. Like at first when I saw this, I was like, yeah, I don't know. Why would the Wizards do this? But depending on the
makes
draft,
the Hawks more dangerous.
Makes the Hawks a little bit more. I like Kispert for them. I like McCollum coming off the bench as a veteran guy. I think it does. I think it's good for Atlanta. And for the Wizards, you take a lottery ticket on Trae Young. He can kind of organize your offense a little bit, make sure that Bub Carrington isn't playing point guard for you. He's not a natural point guard. And gets Alex Sarr. He's able to feed Alex Sarr the ball in the pick and roll. I don't know. It's fine for Washington, and they basically don't give up a whole lot. McCollum was expiring anyway, and Kispert was a little bit older than their core. I don't think they needed him very much. So, yeah, I like it for both teams.
It's funny. We're talking about a matchup against the Bulls, and then your other perennial play-in tournament opponent in Atlanta makes this deal. If I was Miami, I'd be more interested in staying out of the play-in tournament than ever because I think Atlanta just got a little bit better. Like, if anything, you could attack Trae Young pretty consistently, and that was always going to be a glaring weak spot. I was less concerned about his offense and more about being able to victimize him on defense. Now, McCollum is a fine player. He's not a great defender or anything like that, but he's going to at least produce, I would imagine, as coming off the bench. Yeah. And Kispert is just one of those random scrub heat killers who can always get it going. Like a guy,
he's a good 3-point shooter when he's healthy.
Yes.
Yeah, he'll and Atlanta
he can go 3 of 5.
3-point shooter.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like this deal a lot for Atlanta, and I like their new direction here. Jalen Johnson is a star. He'll be an all-star. Yeah, to your point, you don't want to be facing Atlanta right now. I think they just took a step forward here, right? Like they're entering a new era, and I think there's going to be a lot of clarity and levity, and I think it'll be a net positive for that Hawks team that's got a lot of young talent and is very interesting. For the Wizards, I wasn't scared of playing the Wizards before, and I'm not scared of playing the Wizards now as much as I like Trae Young as sort of a organizer for their offense. I do think that it'll be interesting to see what they end up doing with this contract if he ends up opting out or if he opts in for one more year and then maybe they make a decision then. Still waiting on the trade compensation, which I think is the more interesting part on this. But no draft picks, according to Jake Fisher. No draft picks changing teams in this trade.
Ooh.
Fascinating. So they got Trae Young for CJ McCollum and Corey Kispert. The Heat version of that deal is Terry Rozier and Simone Fontecchio. And probably another contract. I think it was Nikola Jovic that we talked about that would need to be in that. And even that's more than what Washington gave up for Trae Young. So
that kind of just shows how little value he has. Yeah. And also kind of reflects, I think, that Miami's front office was like, nah, we're good.
Yeah.
Do you buy into the whole Miami being part of the preferred destinations list or anything like that?
They're always part of the preferred destination. Trae Young can tell one person around him, be like, I'd like to play in Miami. It's like, all right, cool. So would everybody else in the league. No, I think, look, the Wizards are the perfect team to just take a flyer on Trae. They're not going to win anytime soon. They're not trying to. They're a mess defensively already. So they're not worried about like, oh, Trae Young's going to come in and ruin our defense. Like they stink already on that end. It's fine. That's the kind of team that takes a flyer on Trae Young, sees if they can maybe refurbish his value a little bit and then flip him in a year and get another asset. A lot of their front office came from the Oklahoma City Thunder's front office. So like that's, we've seen that the Thunder do this with Al Horford and Chris Paul in the past, and that's probably what they'll try to do with Trae Young. The Heat play the Bulls tonight. We'll be back tonight with our post-game reactions. Make sure that you subscribe and follow Locked On Heat so you get all the latest episodes. Follow Locked On Heat on Instagram, TikTok, and X. If you never miss an episode, the Everydayer Club is built for you. Get the Locked On Heat ad-free, plus members-only Discord access and more. Head to lockedonheat.supercast.com to join the club. For those of you on video, we send you the first ever 24/7 national NBA YouTube channel on audio. Make sure you make your second listen Locked On NBA Game Night on the Locked On NBA feed.